As the head football coach of this special football program, it is my responsibility to ensure that this football program represents the highest level of character, respect, and integrity in everything we do.
Those the words of Bill O'Brien upon the official announcement of his hiring as the new head coach at Penn State. The decision receiving both praise and criticism from those in and outside the Penn State family. Despite pulling double duty as the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, O'Brien wasting little time in adding some big names to his staff. O'Brien has helped lead a Patriots offense that ranks second in the NFL in total offense and points per game. He also has over a decade of college coaching experience as an assistant at Georgia Tech in Maryland. O'Brien played his college ball at Brown University, coincidentally sharing an alma mater with Joe Paterno. And welcome into the BTN Football Report alongside Howard Griffith and Jerry DiNardo. I'm Rick Pizzo. Gentlemen, about 3 days now since that hiring was made official. Jerry, what have the last 72 hours told you about the direction Bill O'Brien is pointing this program in?
That he's going to move fast. I mean, the staff looks like it's coming together really well. Hopefully they'll be recruiting news shortly.
Yeah, I think it's an outstanding move when you look at Penn State. They wanted to have a clear-cut leader, a guy who probably has nothing to do with the past. And I think when they go in to recruit young players and young athletes, he can look them in the eye and says, that's the past. I'm here to talk about what the future and what Penn State can do for you.
Of course, in most cases, a coach is only as good as the players he is able to put on the field. And as we focus on those players and some of the storylines for Penn State heading into the 2012 season, Matt McGloin, Rob Bolden, Paul Jones expected to battle for the starting quarterback position. Silas Redd returns after a year in which he rushed for more than 100 yards per game, while questions will need to be answered at wideout and in the secondary. For more questions and answers, we're joined by the voice of the Nittany Lions, Steve Jones. Steve, I know you had the chance to talk with Bill O'Brien this past weekend, also talk to some of the players after he addressed the team. What's the number one message he's trying to send right now?
That it's time to move forward, and he has a plan to move everything forward. And he told the players that during their players-only meeting on Sunday evening. The players are absolutely enthused about this because now, for the first time in a couple of months, they feel settled. They know what direction they're going to be going in. They know things they've settled on a head coach. They now know who their position coaches are. These are all lingering questions they've had for 2 months, and now the questions have been answered. Now they can dedicate themselves to the winter program and start learning a new playbook.
Steve, most of the reaction we've heard from the Penn State family has been from former players. What about the reaction to Bill O'Brien's message from the current players, the guys who will be on the roster this fall?
Absolutely enthused. I think everyone knows Matt McGloin, the quarterback, is absolutely excited about this. Silas Redd can't wait to get to work. He said if the Giants were to play the Patriots in the Super Bowl, he'd now root for the Patriots, even though he's a Giants fan. Justin Brown, the wideout, same reaction for him. But Michael Motti on the defensive side, excited about having the offensive mind of Bill O'Brien here at Penn State because he says it's going to make a big difference for the defense that he plays on. So that's the reaction that he received from his team.
Steve, whether we're talking about recruiting or general planning, how much concern is there with Bill O'Brien having to split his time right now between the Patriots and Penn State?
Well, I talked to Bill O'Brien Sunday about this, and he said he has a separate office that Bill Belichick has set up at Gillette with somebody specifically from the Patriots working with him on Penn State items. I think, though, for Penn State, this works out extremely well. He has 7 assistant coaches in place, and only 7 assistants, Rick, are allowed to be out recruiting at one time anyway. The head coach only gets 1 in-home visit with each recruit. Now think about this. If the Patriots go all the way to the Super Bowl, and as the number 1 seed, obviously that's not inconceivable. Well, he'd be coaching the Patriots against Denver. He'll be back here on Sunday. Then they go to the AFC Championship game. If they win that, there's a week off between the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, which is the final major recruiting weekend anyway. So that fits perfectly into his schedule. At the same time, every time he is shown on television over this playoff run, they will be associating Bill O'Brien with Penn State University, and I think it ends up being a major coup.
Steve, you mentioned the coaching staff, some new hires brought in, but also retaining Ron Vanderlinden, Larry Johnson. How important was it for Bill O'Brien to retain at least a portion of Joe Paterno's staff?
Rick, excellent question, and I think it was a very wise move on Bill O'Brien's part. 2 defensive coaches in Larry Johnson, who's done a great job with the defensive line, Ron Vanderlinden, who's developed one outstanding linebacker after another, 2 of them pivotal in the recruiting wars out there, and I think it was very important also for the players to see a couple of familiar faces along with the new mix. I think it was really, really well done by Bill O'Brien as to how he's put the staff together, including retaining 2 coaches.
Steve Jones, voice of the Nittany Lions. As always, great stuff from Penn State. Steve, thanks for the time.
Rick, as always, thank you.